Welcome to Just a Thought Podcast, episode 11. Today, joining me is my friend Stephanie, who I used to work with in mental health and drug detox. Most of 2019, we worked night shift, and we used to chuck it up and have a good time, working night shift and keeping ourselves occupied. And we always had a lot of deep and wonderful conversations. And I knew that once I got this podcast going, I would like to have her on. She is studying, she is in the mental health, works in the mental health field, has experience with mental health and drug detox, both in her personal life and in her career pursuits as well. And she's very intelligent, and I wanted to have her on to give her some ideas on that. So we talk a little bit about the pandemic going on and how it's impacted her, some books, interesting books she's read that sort of help you to improve yourself and improve your life, and how depression and anxiety has impacted her and some of the ways that you can sort of deal with that throughout your life. And it's a very good show, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It's Just a Thought Podcast, episode 11. All right, Steph, thanks for joining me.
It's been a long time. Of course.
Yeah. Glad to have you on the show. And you're one of the first people I told that I was going to start up a YouTube channel. So, of course, I was excited to have you on there and things like that. And we talked about it when we worked together. Where did we meet each other?
Are we being nice or are we being mean? No, we'll be nice.
We can be however we want to be.
True. Helio, which is a treatment facility for chemical and substance abuse. If a lot of people aren't familiar.
Yeah.
They do services as detox and inpatient. And again, people probably don't know what we did.
Yeah.
But we're dealing with detox. We're dealing people literally who are still have drugs in their system, still have alcohol in their system. Yeah. And we're dealing mainly with stabilizing them in the detox portion.
Yeah. So. At least that was the how do you put it? The mantra behind what the company claimed what they were trying to do for people. But in execution, there was a lot to be desired. So I think I'm not going to speak for you, but for me personally, I kind of fell out of love with my job there. And that's something we can always delve into and things like that later on in the show here. Yeah. But
I've been working in the field for 2.5 years. Like you were there for like a year, right?
Yeah, I was there for like a year.
Yeah. So, I mean, you unfortunately saw you were in the trenches.
Yeah. Well, you were as well. So.
Yeah. But I got to see more of the success portions with my career. So okay. I wish you were able to see that portion. I think you might have liked it a little bit more, but
okay.
We're getting the worst of it.
Yeah, when I got into got into that kind of work, sort of drug rehab and mental health treatment and stuff like that, I came in with this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed mentality that I was going to help save all these people that had these issues and so on. And the company that I was working for had the same mission and so on. But I mean, at the same time, to give them the benefit of the doubt, I don't know what it's like to run a company like that at all. And who knows, in terms of the business aspect of it, maybe there were certain concessions that had to be made that they didn't feel they needed to explain to us who were in the ground. So, to give them the benefit of the doubt, who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, and that's unfortunately too, that's a lot of people though. Like anybody who enters the human service field, like there's this huge misconception that we're going to save the world.
Yeah.
If you can save you can't even save anybody. You can only save yourself. Like let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know that.
Most likely that's the case. Yeah.
Exactly. Like we can make a small impact. We can give tools.
Yeah.
But whatever religion you are, you're not God, you're not Jesus, you're not, if you believe in Satan, you're not Satan. You ain't gonna save everybody's soul.
Yeah. One of the things I always say too is if you're trying to save a drowning person, I'm not the only person that says this, but if you're trying to save a drowning person that doesn't want to be saved, guess what's going to happen?
You're going down with them.
Exactly. So
I lifeguarded for 15 years. You're going down with them.
yeah. Man, you've been into a lot of stuff. I want you to tell us about some of those things you've been into. But before we get into that, where are you from originally?
I'm an Army brat. I was born at Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Okay. Oh, there's actually
And
a place called Fort Knox. It's not.
they're
It's not just
literally,
a thing that people say.
no, they're literally, it historically did keep gold there. But now it's more so like the unspoken stepchild of the military branch now, I guess. Like that's where the bad kids in the Army go, I guess. I don't know. This is the rumors of what I hear from other people that are Army brats or
Okay.
military.
So you were a bad kid.
I wasn't a bad kid. Back then in 1983, there was gold.
Yeah. Yeah. It was gold back there. Yeah.
There was gold.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Hawaii.
Now you and I are the same age. We're both 36 years old. So
We are
what you need
36.
to do is that you need to share with me what it takes to look like you're younger than 36 because I look like 46 and you look like 26. So what's up with that? Yeah, why haven't you shared the secret with me? We're supposed to be friends. What's up with that?
Well, I have lots of fried food. Duh.
Oh, lots of fried food. Is that what it is? Okay. I'll be sure to jump on that diet. And
No, you know
uh,
what? You're the second person in the past 2 days to ask me this question.
yeah. Well, it is what it is.
You want to
Um,
know? You chalk it up to good genes, man. Like
yeah.
we both look younger than we are.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
you saying that. It's not true, but I appreciate you saying that.
You're welcome,
Um,
Kenny.
so tell me some other jobs you've had. You know what I'm saying? Like let's get into that. And tell me some of the work you've done, like different jobs you've had and places you touch bases.
Um, let's just start at the beginning. I mean, I worked on it was my grandparents' farm when I was younger. That was more so chores and like, getting paid on the table, like stuff like that. Um, used to work at a grocery store, helping people carry bags to their car. I've lifeguarded. I've worked in a fitness center. I have,
Yeah.
I've worked in life insurance, customer service, and also reinsuring life insurance policies and
Oh,
worksite, which is
there's a
like,
specific job for reinsuring.
yes, there
Okay.
is.
Okay. All
Because
right.
fun fact, people don't know this. When you get a whole life insurance policy, it's not one company that's like paying out whenever God bless, whenever you die, but like other companies are in there taking a percentage to offset that cost.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there was that job. There was I was a fulfillment manager for a company locally that we would take. Okay, so say you had this amazing product, but you didn't want to do the manufacturing production. You didn't want to do the customer service. You didn't want to do the billing. You just wanted to take your great idea and have somebody else do the work for you.
Oh, in other words, make no money off your own IP.
You would make money. It's just other people would do the work for you.
Okay. Well, you get a
You
smaller
want
percentage, I imagine, right? You got to pay them.
exactly. You wouldn't get as much money for your idea, but you're not doing the work and you're still getting money.
Yeah.
So I would do all the work for you.
Okay.
Yep. And then I had a miscarriage, went back to school, got my
Mm.
cosmetology license,
Mm.
worked in a hair salon. I was also a manager of a church.
Mm. Mm. A manager of a church.
Yep. I
Okay.
was
What is
the office manager.
that? Now I know you're a Christian too. So what does that entail? Being a manager of a church.
Well, I mean, I was baptized Catholic, raised Methodist, but I'm more of like an energy kind of person. Like I think honestly, all religions are intertwined somehow, but I
Okay.
digress. A lot of nonprofit laws you need to dabble in, make sure people are getting paid, make sure all the write-offs are getting done, all the collections are being filed
Oh yeah.
properly.
Those collection that 10%.
A little dinero.
No, but yeah, we gotta keep the lights on. So of course.
Yeah, but people don't realize too. A lot of nonprofit organizations all have been hurting for the past 25, 30 years because, I mean, look at this pandemic, for instance. Like, who can literally go to an organized function now,
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, as a person who I played junior Olympic softball from the
Mm-hmm.
age of 9 to 21.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my softball tournaments were on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I ain't going to church.
Yeah. Yeah.
My church is that diamond out on a dirt field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I myself, I grew up Christian myself in the church and things like that. And yeah, you know, they say that God walks with you and stuff like that, and He's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know, you know, with respect to I'm no longer Christian myself. As you can see, I'm more in the Buddhist philosophy and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I do feel the same way where they're all intertwined, and ultimately, a lot of them are saying, "Be a good person." You know what I'm saying? Just don't be an asshole. That's essentially what they're saying. Just don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. Eat your vegetables.
Yeah, don't be an asshole and eat your vegetables. But yeah. So what are some of the most impactful jobs you've had as far as um, you know? Because I know now you're more leaning towards the mental health capacity, and you're in college for that and so on. So before we get into some of the degrees and things that you're pursuing and so on, what are some of the most impactful jobs you've had?
Well, after the church manager job, did hair for a while, and then ended up getting a divorce, and that's when I entered the chemical and substance abuse field.
Okay.
And honestly, and I also dabbled with being a wellness coach, like network marketing through all of this.
Okay.
Honestly, it's going to come down to the chemical and substance abuse positions. Like I
Okay.
worked at 2 agencies. One of the agencies I was at 2 locations, and unfortunately, a lot of people think that they put down people who do drugs and drink excessively. Well, here's the news flash, kids. We all are addicts in our own way.
Yeah, and something we're addicted to something. I know I'm
Exactly.
addicted to YouTube right now.
Hey, if you want to know it, if it brings you happiness, but here's the thing, people forget, if it brings you happiness and you're doing it in a balance, then it's cool.
Yes.
But right now we're all shut in, we're all quarantined in a sense. If it's not hurting anybody and it brings you some joy,
Exactly. Do your thing.
freaking do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do your thing. I mean, if you're not hurting nobody else, you're not hurting yourself, go ahead and do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, like, the especially after, like, I was getting a divorce and that was like my first job back after being a stay-at-home mom for like 4 or 5 years. That was a huge culture shock, but it was also the most rewarding culture shock I've ever had.
Yeah.
It puts things
So
in
that's
perspective.
what pushed you towards going towards the mental health field.
Yeah. Well, that and I've been officially diagnosed as having depression and anxiety at the age of 18, but I've had symptoms and signs since I was about 10, 12 years old.
And what are some of those symptoms and signs?
Oh dear Lord. Well, anxiety. The best way I can describe anxiety is if you're standing in an ocean and one wave of emotion comes at you and it's happiness, and then right after another is anger, and then excitement, and then sadness, and then overwhelming, and you just can't catch your breath. That is the best way I've ever been able to really truly describe anxiety to anybody.
It's like you're getting slammed with things before you can actually have a chance to recover from the last thing that just hit you. Would that be an accurate way of looking at it?
Oh yeah, there's no chance to process what's going on at all. Yeah. You're literally just getting nailed left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you so you have your own issues where it comes to that, and as far as the way it affected you in your life and so on. But you still were able to function, and I know you did softball and things like that. But it pushed you towards there. But do you have people in your life that you've sort of had to sort of deal with their issues to some degree and sort of be a supporting force for them?
It's one of those things, though. Well, and you know this, it's been so faux pas to talk about mental health up until probably the past couple of years. And it's been so, like hush hush too, like, oh, nobody's supposed to talk about somebody doing drugs or drinking. Oh no.
Yeah.
Up until probably the past year, in this area at least.
Yeah.
because now our age and our kid, we're seeing our kid, like not my child, but I know my family's been impacted by, somebody who's an addict.
Mm-hmm.
We have to explain these things to our kids now.
Yeah.
So I mean, we all have mental health in some form. And what I don't know if we were talking about this before when we first met,
Mm-hmm.
is that like anybody who says that they have no problem and they're sane are usually the most insane individuals. Like
Yeah.
literally, they're usually batshit crazy. You show me
Yeah.
somebody who has their house, perfectly organized.
Yeah.
They know where they're going to be every single day of every minute of the day.
Mm-hmm.
That person's straight up OCD. They ain't sane.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely a teeter totter that you have to maintain at all times. Yeah, especially, I guess the way I would look at it is this: you can the brain is like clay, so you can sort of mold it around certain behaviors, and you can sort of get used to a lifestyle that may be conducive towards maintaining proper mental health. And usually that lifestyle, like you mentioned, is one that adheres to balance. Okay. And when we talk about balance, we may be talking about things like making sure you get fresh air, making sure you have a healthy gut, because a gut bacteria, they say, has a huge thing to do with your anxiety and depression levels and so on.
Yeah.
And we talk about exercising so that you can get like a proper sort of natural dopamine release and natural ways of feeling good. And unfortunately, a lot of people, when they're unable to, whether chemically, sort of outside of their hands or whatever the case is, they may get into substances to sort of like as a way to unnaturally have those feelings within their body because they're unable to motivate themselves or attain that serotonin uptake naturally. Talk a little bit about that. I mean, what do you think? Do you agree or? I know you're more studied in mental health than I am, so I'll adhere to your opinions on this.
Well, I am a nerd, so.
Yeah. No, let me hear that nerd side of you. Let's hear it.
Oh gosh. So honestly, in layman's terms, when it comes down to it, I think about 95% of the people that I've either been involved with their treatment or have in my life, a lot of it stems to self-medicating, the trauma they have been through, or their mental health, or their pain, whether it's emotionally, mentally, physically.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do it. We do it. I do it with food.
Yeah. Yeah. Me, myself as well. Emotional eater.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, and everyone's like posting these joking memes like, like there's gonna one or two things are gonna happen to people after being quarantined. They're either gonna come out looking like a fitness model or they're gonna come out weighing 50 pounds more. I'm like, 50 pounds more is happening.
Yeah, we don't want that. I'm gonna try to avoid that as much as yeah.
Yeah.
I know I haven't necessarily gained a lot of weight, but I've lost a lot of muscle.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That my man boobs are about to hit the floor at the moment right now. So
you're peeking on a size C. You a C cup now.
Yeah, I used to be a B cup. I'm a C cup now. I'm moving up there, Maybe I'll get to be a Playboy model one of these days. I keep increasing my boob size here.
But
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but ultimately, I'm not going to get into the whole science stuff of it because honestly, that people just kind of zone off and do the zombie stare at you. It's self-medication. It's doing things not balanced, and we're gonna go there. I'm going to go there into the whole education system when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm.
The whole just say no to drugs.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Bullshit.
Really? Because I thought that worked for me, man. That was Nancy Reagan, right? Just say no to drugs, right? Because we're old, so we know about. Was it Nancy Reagan?
It was like Scruff McGruff, the detective.
I don't know. It was one of those people.
Like the DARE program. Just say no. You want to know what? I know their heart was in a good place. But us telling people to just say no instead of giving them information and the education behind why they should just say no.
Yeah.
That's where we fucked up.
Okay.
That is where we fucked up.
Okay.
Because it's like me telling you to not touch a hot stove.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why can't I touch it? Just don't touch it.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to fucking touch it because you want to know why.
in addition to that, you might wait until somebody's not looking so you can actually find out what the reason is because nobody was willing to explain it to you.
Exactly.
I'm with you. I'm following along.
Exactly. And it wasn't even until like my first chemical and substance abuse counseling class that they showed us this movie called Through the Blue Lens. And Canadian police officers went around with cameras to all the hot spots and were filming people and getting their before story and their after story. And they took this educational video and showed it to high schoolers and middle schoolers. I'm like, this is what we should be doing because
gotcha.
Yeah, they showed before pictures of the individual, what led them up to that, like how they were at that point in their life, and then what happened in between in their current picture. And a lot of these people you wouldn't even recognize.
Yeah.
I mean,
why do you think that is, though? Why do you think it's more impactful when they see what it looks like?
We are a very imagery-fueled society. Like, look at magazines, for instance, or like before and after pictures. We usually don't give a shit about the person in between. We only care about the person, their success, where they are after everything happened.
Okay.
So let's see what, so you want to know what? Let's do before and after pictures of people. Even seeing a bunch of clients from like when I first started in the field and then seeing them like back in January, and I'm just like, I didn't even recognize some of these people. I'm just like, like, hey, Steph. And I'm like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey,
I just think that people in general, I mean, we got 5 senses and really 6 if you really think about it, right?
Yeah.
Intuition, I think, is a sense.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, definitely a sense. So, but officially, we have 5 senses. I think if we want to impact people, we have to hit them with as many senses at the same time, so that it becomes reality. Because how do we perceive reality outside of our senses? We really don't, because I do believe there's other parts to reality that we cannot sense, and therefore we don't pay attention to it. It still impacts us. And we can talk about the spiritual end and so on of it, but we don't necessarily sense those things. But the ones we do sense, if you want to sort of get someone to pay attention, you have to hit them with as many senses as you can. And for me personally, just an example, I found it more valuable to do this podcast in video format as opposed to an audio format. Because in audio format, you're only going to hear what if you're watching the video as we speak, then you can sort of get a sense of what we're talking about in an even better way.
Oh, yeah. Hey, if you want me to amp it up, I smell like lavender.
Yeah, cut the nonsense. I see your hair as well. It looks like you just took a shower. Cut the nonsense. But I'll tell you right now, though. But as I was going to say, if you really want people to realize why they shouldn't do drugs, is not only do you have to let them see an addict and sort of hear an addict, but you also have to let them taste an addict. So let us go lick an addict's face. No? Not an option?
I think that's crossing. Honestly, you want to know what's funny? Like, you hit this, like, okay, take Disney, for instance. I was there back in September. And one of the rides we went on, me and one of my friends, is, I forget the name of it, but you're like hang gliding and you're going through all these countries. This is how Disney realizes our senses impact our full experience. Not only are you hanging up in the air, you're watching this video, you're feeling the wind. They actually have scents in the air. So like if you're in the rainforest, you smell rain, you smell like trees and wetness. And then if you're in the desert, it gets like dry and musty.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
You nailed it. Like, we should make a ride.
We'll make a ride that will sort of stir people away from living lifestyles that they really, it probably isn't healthy for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny though, it's like with illness too. We're like, no, we're not going to get sick. No, I'm not going to become overweight. No, I'm not going to get the flu.
Yeah.
But then when you firsthand have it, you're like, I don't ever want to experience that again.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so, running back into a little bit into the past here a little bit. So how was volleyball? Not volleyball, Jesus. My stepdaughter's into volleyball, so that's what we do, volleyball. Softball. How was softball for you? Like how much did you enjoy doing that when you were a kid growing up every Sunday, or was that something that was something that you had to do? Like what was the, you know what I'm saying?
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I was actually, it was funny because on Facebook recently, one of my friends posted my first softball team. It was like 1993, and I'm the shortest one. And
Mm.
I'm like, wow, that takes me back. And I genuinely did love softball.
Okay.
Um, so I started off, like the little tiny town teams. And then when I was, how old was I? I think I was like 10. I got recruited to do a junior Olympic softball team.
Oh
We
wow.
traveled
Okay.
a lot. Yeah, we were doing it every weekend. So I was doing a sport all year round on top of my school sports
Mhm.
and working and studying. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so it was a lot. And I think I generally fell out of love with softball when I was my freshman year of college.
Mm.
I did have a scholarship.
Oh, you did? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
But a lot of thank you, but a lot of promises were made. Um, like, yeah, come here, starting third base. That never happened. And it was the same thing that happened with a couple other teams because I was a really good hitter. Um, you get tired of the politics.
Mm.
And when you start to, the passion for it is taken out of something, you need to stop.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
continued though, despite all of this. And I left my sophomore year at that school and I went to my local community college because I was done. All love for the sport was just taken away from me,
Mm.
which sucked. But it's funny now because my daughter's going to be 8 in July and she has a hell of an arm.
Okay.
And yeah, and she's an amazing hitter, but I won't sign her up.
Really? I do hear
It's
that a lot from a lot of parents who are former athletes and so on. It's like there was no balance was difficult to maintain, wasn't it? So it kind of contributes, like you said, towards your kind of losing the taste for it.
and that's the thing. Anything done excessively, again, this goes back to the addiction portion. Like, if it killed me, my mental health,
Mm.
and it killed my spirit. And it's just like, I don't want that, you know, like,
Yeah.
I want my kid to enjoy, like, if she wants to do softball or baseball or whatever sport she wants to do, I will be the loudest one there cheering her on, whether she
Mm.
is amazing or she sucks.
Yeah. Well, that's you're a good mom. That's the way to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's absolutely the way to do it. And if you had, was your dad supportive with you with softball?
My dad and my mom were really supportive.
Okay.
My dad pushed me really hard.
Mm.
I mean, and I absolutely adore my dad.
Yeah.
Absolutely adore my dad. Were there times that really broke me down a little? Yes.
Yeah.
But I also know too, with his upbringing and everything, and his and my relationship, that he sees the greatness in me,
Hmm.
and that was his way of trying to push me towards that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and again, I absolutely adore my father and I
That's
adore
wonderful.
my mother, and they're the most two supportive people I've ever had the blessing of
Yeah.
coming in contact with. Like,
That's
I don't
good.
know what I did to have them as parents, but I'm blessed.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're
So
all a great close family. So again, many people can't say that.
so speaking of which, how are you holding up right now with you and your daughter and so on during this pandemic here? You guys staying able to stay busy as much as you can, or what's going on?
Well, I'm finishing my bachelor's right now. Everything's online, and I'm not gonna lie, I've fallen behind in my coursework because now I am helping. Like, my ex-husband and I are great friends. Me and his
Hmm.
girlfriend are actually good friends too, and we're all like tag teaming,
Hmm.
like with homeschooling her and
Okay.
keeping her occupied and keeping her isolated from coming in contact with anybody, and also
Yeah.
us isolated.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and my her dad and his girlfriend are actually considered essential workers.
Okay.
So, and I haven't been working since the end of January. So
Hmm.
I'm home. So that's like juggling the
Yeah. Yeah.
whole anxiety portion. Like, honestly, I want to ask you how you're holding up, Mr. Extrovert.
Well, yeah, I know. I did see your post on Facebook about that, and why do you think I'm doing a podcast every 2 seconds? Because the thing about it is this: as you well know, as an extrovert, I have to be able to interact with people. I have to be able to see people and sort of impact their emotions. Where I'm working right now, I have I have someone that is under our care, and that person was saying to me that um, this person is unable to be in public with everybody, and this person was saying to me, man, because when I go out in public, I wear my N95 and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And this person was saying to me, this person kept making jokes and stuff like that, and I was smiling, but he couldn't see it. So he said to me, he said, "Hey, can you take that mask down so I can I can see you smile?" I go, "Can't do that, buddy." But I feel you, like, because he was an extrovert.
Yeah.
Okay, I could tell that he was an extrovert, and yeah, he wanted to see an impact on me. I guess it sort of makes us feel good to see how we can influence people, or whether it's in a good way or unfortunately for some people a bad way.
Well,
So
that's
yeah,
really
it can be tough. The good thing is I do have a full house between Jay and the girls and stuff like that, and it sort of pushed me to be more creative and sort of do this podcast more often, and so I can talk to as many people as possible.
yeah,
So
totally.
there's ways around it.
Well, and that's the other thing too. It's not just being an extrovert and having that connection. Like, we're human beings. I think the main purpose for us to be on this planet is connection
Yeah,
and to help each other and to just give each other goodness and kindness and love.
yeah,
And like you saying, with you having that mask, like just not being able to see the joy of the little talk conversation you're having,
yeah,
like that takes away from human connection, and it's soul sucking.
yeah. It is. I mean, so yeah. I mean, I do honestly think though, and I do get fulfillment from my work because I interact with a lot of people at my work. I interact with more people now than I did when we worked together, because of the capacity where I'm working right now. Huh?
And you like it? You're like, you're not like overwhelmed?
No, I'm not overwhelmed at all. The more
Good.
people I can interact with, the better for me. Okay, so I don't
Well,
know.
I know,
I might.
like I know, like at nighttime, you're like, I like when it's quiet.
I don't know. I'm a strange bird because the thing about it is this. Here's my thing. I'll make the best of my situation I'm in currently. So I'm going to look at the positives in the situation. So when we were working together night shift, it was just me, you, and I think a couple other co-workers.
Yep.
And we were really the ones that are awake. Our clients were sleeping for the most part, unless of course they woke up and decided to make our lives miserable, um, which happened fairly
Feel
often. But
that.
but for the most part, it was just us interacting and stuff like that. And yeah, I do like to interact with a lot of people. But back then, what I did was we didn't have the pandemic going on, so
Yeah.
between work, I was able to go out and interact with my friends and do stuff with them or go see family and things like that. So I always try to, yeah, it is very important for me as an extrovert to interact with people and sort of have them influence me and me influence them. But
Yeah.
you look at the glass half full, like work with what you got.
Totally true.
Yeah. So I
Yep.
look forward to going to work and stuff like that. I'm going back to work tomorrow. We're recording this almost at Easter Sunday here, and talk a little bit about your Easter Sunday and if it means anything to you at all.
Um, all holidays mean something to me and my family. We're very, very close family. I know it's not the norm. Like, we were the family that, regardless of what sport was going on, we had dinner at the dinner table every night.
Mhm.
I know that's not norm. A lot of people hear that and they're like, "You guys
Yeah.
live in the 50s?" I'm like,
Yeah, I
"No."
definitely didn't have that.
Yeah, like that's our thing, and I do that with my daughter.
Okay.
Um, that's it's important to us. Like, if anything, like me not going out in public or anything hasn't affected me as far as this pandemic. That's my normal life. Like,
Well, you're an
I like
introvert, so yeah, you're the opposite. Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, I got, but the thing that has bothered me the most is like not seeing my family every weekend and
Mm.
catching up.
Yeah.
Um, or like my niece's birthday. She's been talking about this all year about going to Chuck E. Cheese, and
Oh.
she's going to be 4, and we can't take her to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh. Yeah.
That's stuff. It's that
Yeah,
stuff
because
that we
kids don't really understand what's going on here. They just know that they can.
no. Yeah, and I, would, like taking them to the trampoline park or the water park, or let's go to just a park and play the swing set. Like, would
Yeah.
you do that? Or no, we can't have all, like telling my daughter, we can't have all 6 of your cousins over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. But I honestly think that, and I've heard reports that we're hopefully going to hit peak soon, according to the models. So
That's for New York
hopefully,
City.
oh, that's New
That's
York
for,
City.
yeah, New York City. Broome County, we have not peaked yet.
Oh, oh man, that's not
Yeah, and they haven't released any information, but if you look at the numbers, we have not peaked. We have 6 confirmed deaths the last couple of days that I've checked, because I'm OCD about that stuff.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you got to stay informed.
Oh, yeah. And anyone who isn't informed, I don't recommend watching the news all day. Don't do
Yeah.
that. You'll become a psychopath.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a clinical diagnosis.
Yeah.
You'll go crazy.
Yeah.
You'll start
Sure.
obsessing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yo.
as far as I know, there's only 6 deaths.
So, jumping back real quick, I know you mentioned a few times that you're divorced and stuff like that. How old were you when you got married?
I was 24 when I got married.
24. That's pretty young.
Yeah. Weren't you married young too?
Yeah, I got married when I was 20. Let me think. It's been a while now. I got married at like 22 or somewhere around there. And, I just honestly felt, if I had to think about why I got married so young, I would say I was lost. I was looking for happiness. And I knew I was subconsciously, I knew I was depressed, as I had been most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I did suffer from anxiety as well, like major anxiety. Once again, another thing that was undiagnosed. And I was looking for a way to be happy. And there were people in my life, a lot of adults that I saw that were married and they were seemingly very happy. So in my head, it's like, is this what I need to do so I can be happy? Do I need to get married? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I met someone who had undiagnosed their own issues as well. And that sort of made me feel even more endeared to that person because it felt like it was somebody I could fix. When really I was looking to fix myself, but also I wanted somebody I can kind of relate to. Like we both came from the same place, similar backgrounds, and all these kind of things. So I was like, well, let's just get married. Or rather, this person said to me they wanted to get married and stuff like that, and I agreed to it because in my head I was like, "There's nothing doing, nothing else to do, really." Like it's just a sad situation, really, when you really think about it. For a young person to get married under those circumstances, and I was warned. People told me that it wasn't a good decision and I wasn't ready and this and that. But young and dumb back then, and full of you know what. Yeah, full of you know what exactly. So that was definitely that part was definitely a part of the reason. Okay, because she she said certain things had to be happen first before that. So I was like, okay, well, we got married. It's one of the worst reasons you could possibly get married. You know what I'm saying? So I got married way too young. I was married for a couple of years before the relationship then ended. And yeah, man, I've been dealing with the after effects of it ever since, and I imagine I'll be dealing with it for the rest of my life. But it is what it is. You make your bed, and so shall you lay. And these experiences have made me a stronger person, and it helped to make me realize what kind of person. How do I put it? I feel like being my personality and testing the boundaries because I always love to test the boundaries. Okay, so I was that person growing up where I was told not to do something, and I'd be like, well, I'm gonna go do that so that I know for sure for myself, like we talked about earlier, what the side effects of that is. And unfortunately, that was one of those things that I did. So now it helped me realize that that was what kind of person I should not be with. Okay. And sort of helped to steer me in the direction of the kind of person I should be with. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
was that the same for you or no?
Well, Well, I mean, my ex-husband and I, he was my childhood crush, but we didn't end up reconnecting until I was 21. Um, and like you said, honestly, you and I grew up in that age where we have seen all spectrums of technology,
Yeah.
and we did not have all the knowledge and mental health accessible to us.
Mm.
Now, with that said, I don't think any 20-year-old truly knows what they want in life.
Yeah.
I think for us
Yeah.
as a society to tell an 18-year-old when they leave high school,
Yeah.
you're going to go to college or you're going to go into a technical school and you're going to pick the profession and career that you are going to have for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Or even the choice to even volunteer in an army or a military branch. I think there's a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
but that's our society.
Yeah.
And I mean, at 21, did I love my ex-husband? And I still do love him. It's not
Yeah.
a romantic love, and he will always be near and dear to me, and the
Yeah.
father of my child, and a good close friend.
And that's
Um,
important too, because you guys are actually raising a child together. It's important to maintain that relationship. I know I make that effort often with my ex-wife, and she does as well in her own way.
yeah,
To so that we can sort of do things together as best as possible. You know what I'm saying? But it can be a dicey, funny situation at times. But yeah, you do the best you can, right?
I am. Well, see, I depend. I think it's like every situation is different. I know mine's extremely weird. Like I tell people like that I can text his girlfriend, and or she'll text me or call me, and or I'll go over there and have dinner with them, or like
Mm.
we have a very
I'm
different.
jealous. I wish I could have that kind of
Yeah,
situation going.
yeah, we have a very different relationship, and I know a lot of people are like like you just said, I wish I had that, and I'm like, I think everyone could, as long as I just wish people would stop holding so many grudges
Yeah,
and bitterness and
and
anger and
bitterness.
resentment. I'm like, you just gotta let it go, because what is it going to serve you, and ultimately, what is it going to serve that child?
Unfortunately, some people don't see things that way. You know what I'm saying? Like they
No.
unfortunately some people, because this is what I think. I think some people, and I'm not, look, I'm a man, okay, and you're a woman, and I love the female perspective, okay, but I can only tell you things from my perspective, and I want you, as a woman,
Hmm.
to give me your perspective. But
Hmm.
why do so many of these so many women, why do they want to use, it seems, the child as a tool to punish you forevermore because of either the mistakes you've made in your past, and I've made many,
Because that's the
or
only way
or
to forgive
because
you.
you've moved on with your life? Like, at what point do they say to themselves, maybe my personal grudges and my personal feelings or should be less important than the welfare of that child, and sort of that child becoming a more well-rounded adult? Because I'll tell you something right now. I understand that having a mother in your life is probably more important in general than having like, if you have to pick one, for the most part, it seems to me that society thinks that having a mother in your life is the most important thing, and like the father is just like, maybe not. But I'm here to challenge that and say that fathers are just as important, or should be just as important, because we
I
may bring a
agree.
certain element to the equation that a woman may not be able to offer, that may help you to produce a more well-rounded adult. What do you think?
I don't even think it comes down to male gender, female gender. I think it comes down to two strong or two role models that can balance each other out to help form this individual, to help raise them. Because there's a lot of, I know a couple couples that
Couple.
couple couples that are a gay couple or a lesbian couple, and you need those different dynamics, because a kid cannot solely function, in my opinion, without having those two perspectives.
Mm.
Because if you're only given one sole perspective, it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And I think the child will have a harder time development, like adjusting to other personalities.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, again, like my professor at school, her and her wife have different personalities.
Yeah.
You know, her personality is actually more, even though she's considered the quote unquote male, which I think that's bullshit, but whatever. For this conversation purpose, that's what we're going to go with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but you know, as far as dressing and how she comes across,
Yeah.
she's very strong in her posture and everything. Whereas her significant other is um, more feminine.
Right.
So when it comes to parenting, the roles are flipped.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
honestly, it comes to just having a stable environment.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. You just need to have a stable environment. And as far as, and I don't think it's women are not the only ones too that do the whole, I'm going
Oh,
to
I
put you
know.
through the child. Yeah,
I know.
you know.
I can
I
only give
mean,
it from my perspective and my personal situation, but I
yeah,
imagine there's other situations where the opposite is going on.
yeah. And honestly, any human being that uses another human being to hurt another person, like the third party that is an innocent bystander, you're an ass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it
It's
can be a
messed
very
up.
dicey situation, unfortunately. And ultimately, the person that, and the only person that really suffers when you think about it is that child. That's the only person that
Yeah.
suffers because as adults, we have more understanding about life and so on, and we're sort of able to keep ourselves more occupied and things like that. But if you're a child and you don't have your mother in your life, or you don't have your father in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you really don't have much going on anyway, because all you got is school, and then you get to come home and play or whatever. You can do some homework and get to play. Whereas us adults, we're juggling 20 things at the same time. Kids don't really juggle 20 things at the same time. We allow them to play and develop their minds and just be a kid. So,
Yeah.
what else do you have when you're a child, other than time on your hands, to obsess over the fact that your parent, one of your parents, is not in your life? So that can help to be conducive towards that child themselves, either holding grudges or whatever the case is, or that child may sort of develop resentments, and that child may just be someone who is just underdeveloped in certain areas.
They're gonna mimic the behavior they witness. That you are the product of your environment.
Yeah,
You are
yeah,
truly product of your environment, and this is the behavior that you're seeing. And you're gonna think it's okay to do that behavior through the rest of your life.
hmm yeah.
You know.
So so moving on from these potentially painful painful subjects here. So we're I know you were into motivation and stuff like that. Who are some of the people that you've watched to help keep you motivated, and some of the recommendations you have? I know you mentioned Gary Vee to me before, and I
Yeah.
have a few other friends that have mentioned Gary Vee to me. And I do want to get. I actually just subscribed to the channel there recently. Is it's just finding the time. I sort of my pendulum and like everybody else, it swings. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
like right now I'm putting so much time into certain aspects of my life. I haven't been able to really enjoy entertainment. There's
Yep.
that Tiger King that I want to get into. I can't finish Ozark yet, and I still gotta watch Gary Vee. So what's up though?
Hey,
Tell me why
cool
I should be
cats
watching
and
Gary Vee.
kittens.
Huh? What's that?
That's from, oh my gosh, Carol Baskins from Tiger King, the one that he wants dead. Every podcast or whatever she does, she opens up with, "Hey, you cool cats and kittens."
Oh yeah. It's like a little mantra or shtick.
Oh my gosh, every time I hear it now, every single time somebody says Tiger King, I'm like, "Hey, cool cats and kittens."
Man, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it at some point. But
You do.
no, but who are some of the sort of people that you've leaned on for motivation in at times, or did you work in some sort of capacity with that before? I thought I heard you mention that.
Yeah, I was a wellness coach for 3 4 years through Beachbody, and I don't know if anyone's familiar with it. It's they do all those home workouts with Tony Horton, like P90X, Sean T with Insanity, Asylum, um, Autumn Calabrese. But I was a wellness coach in the sense that I helped people you obviously earn commission. It's network marketing. It's not a pyramid scheme because you're getting a product, kids.
Mm.
So people forget that.
Yeah, people are afraid of pyramid schemes. I know I am.
Oh, well, yeah, everyone is. But the definition of a pyramid scheme is you're not getting any service or actual physical product with it. So if
Okay.
you ain't getting nothing and you're giving money towards something, you're getting shafted. Um,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah, so I would help people stick to the program as far as accountability. And one part they said is a part of being a coach is like personal development, or as some people remember, the self-help section.
Hmm.
The dreaded self-help section that people
Yeah.
hated, like Tony.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that really tall dude who was on infomercials for
Yeah.
years when we were kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, but I'm huge on personal development. I don't necessarily um, follow any human being religiously.
Okay.
I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of. I'm constantly looking at different perspectives.
Okay.
Um, and this goes back to the human connection. I think we can learn more from like me just talking to you even when we were working, from just
Yeah.
sitting there and having a conversation versus me reading a book.
Okay. Okay.
Because we had
Exchange of
different backgrounds.
ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We had different backgrounds.
Yeah. That's true.
Um, you're a male. You're of color.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. I'm a mutt of mix of ethnicities.
Yeah. And we all are. I am as well,
uh,
actually. I do have some a little
well,
bit of
yeah,
Indian in me.
yeah, just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. That's
Just
the
a tiny
part of
bit.
me that loves to eat a lot of curry. That's just that part. No, I'm joking. But my
Hey,
mother is
good
25%
for you,
Indian.
man.
Yeah.
We all have different things we've been through. You know, like I've the softball. I was devoting a lot of my youth towards that.
Yeah.
Working constantly
Yeah.
towards a goal.
Yeah.
Um, Working in the chemical and substance abuse field. Not many people have done that.
That's true.
Or not a lot of people were army brats. Or I've
Yeah.
traveled a lot. I've had a lot of jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have a lot of education.
Yeah.
I've been through my own trauma. Like people, you need to have those conversations though
Mm.
to learn lessons.
Yeah.
You
And yeah, I
know,
mean those guys are fairly popular and so on, but at the end of the day, they're still human, just like you and I,
exactly.
and so on. And there's a lot to be said for momentum and things like that. Because I'm sure there's people that you can have conversation with who are sort of on the ground, who may offer you insight even more impactful to you than, let's say, a Tony Robbins or something like that. But they're just not. They don't have momentum. They're not out in the public like that. So you talk to many different people and keep an open mind and realize that you can learn from almost anybody, right?
Yeah, and that's ultimately it. Like for instance, okay, like I know when you and I first met, like I know you're a little off-putting of my personality because I'm like, hi, puppies and kittens and rainbows, be my best
Yeah.
friend.
I think no. I think the way you introduced yourself was, "Hey, fat boy, what's going on?"
I did not. I never said
I
that.
am fibbing. I know you don't talk like that.
I
Only, only,
probably said, hey, go find me Duncan, but that's different.
but yeah. So I know you mentioned books and things like that, and what sort of books? I have seen you post a couple of pictures for some books on social media and things like that. What are some of the most? I'm sure you've read a lot of books throughout your life, but so let's narrow it down. What are some of the most interesting books that you've read in the last year, maybe the last 6 months, that people can sort of look into or may be helpful?
Um, I recommend every human being in their lifetime read Maya Angelou's biography.
Maya Angelou. Okay.
Yeah, because and I was actually doing a discussion post about this for my bachelor's, and
Did she just pass
about
away?
he
A
passed away
couple
about
years?
a little more than a year, more than a
Yeah.
year.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. But people don't realize her upbringing. Like
Hmm.
she was raped at the age of 12 by her mother's boyfriend,
Hmm.
and her uncles found the boyfriend and killed him.
Oh.
um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, and she ended up being a mute. And she ended up actually being the first cable car driver in San Francisco, first woman of color in San Francisco. She got a full ride to a college. She raised a son on her own. She was a successful actress on Broadway. She's
Wow.
won numerous awards. She was hit on by what is her name? She was a jazz singer, but this was all before she became an amazing author.
Yeah.
And known for her writing. I think people just need to, read these things because, again, this goes to the before and after pictures of life.
Yeah.
Focus on that end picture of like, oh, she was this. I'm like, yeah, but what about all of this?
Yeah. So she sort of like had a little taste of different lives in her one life. And maybe that's something that you can sort of relate to yourself, being someone who's has touched on a lot of different fields of work and interest and so on, right?
Well,
Maybe
I mean, she was a prostitute and was a drug addict there for a bit, so I haven't.
Oh, you haven't touched that one yet?
No, I haven't touched that one.
Okay.
And if you have,
well, that's next on my list myself because I've been trying different things, so I might do that next.
If you're in that spot in life, I'm sorry, or there's better days, or if that's what you like to do with your life, go you. But that's not my thing.
Okay, that's understandable, and that's respectable as well.
Yes.
But yeah. So any other books that you've read recently that
I literally have a stack like sitting right here.
Oh, you okay? Oh, so you're just gonna. So you really are a nerd. Where's your glasses? You can't be a nerd without glasses. There you go. There you go. Complete that look. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Let's get you some suspenders. And yeah, go ahead.
I think I've been reading Gary John Bishop. He's a Scottish and he's very blunt. Two of his books I have here is like one is called Unfuck Yourself. And then another one is Stop Doing That Shit.
Straight to the point.
They're great books. Yeah, I love them because he's like, look, dude, cut out the bullshit.
Yeah.
Get to the meat of the problem, figure out ways to break it down and conquer it.
Okay. What kind of problems is he talking about?
All right, let's take an example from this one. This one was like, one was like self-sabotaging. Like, a lot of this one, like the stop doing that shit is like end self-sabotage and demand your life back. So I'm guessing this more so is for people that are doormats.
Oh, okay.
Or like I have a problem with limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Meaning like I feel a lot of guilt when I accomplish goals.
Really?
And I know I've accomplished a lot in my life, and I'm very thankful for the people who have had next to me as I do these things. But I feel guilt. Like, why do I get to be so successful, or why do I get to accomplish this amazing goal? But so-and-so else is over there suffering, Like I feel guilt that I shouldn't be celebrating my goal or questioning if I deserve it.
Okay. So this book sort of helps you get out of that mindset a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. A couple others were, healing from rejection, guilt, failure. Ones I've been really focusing on lately are different versions of recovery.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize like all these 12-step programs like AA and NA and all that stuff. They're like, oh, it could only apply to that. I'm like, no, you can apply this to every aspect of your life.
Yeah, you can. That is true. Those lessons, a lot of those lessons really, really do apply to all aspects. I had a conversation with someone on a previous podcast about different elements in terms of when my old MMA coach has a 5-element. The gym is actually called 5-element and so on, but he was talking about earth, wind, and fire, and knowing when, and void, and so on, and knowing when to stand your ground. Essentially, that's the earth element, and fire when to be aggressive, water when to be moldable and sort of adapt, and void, which is an element where you're every one of those things when you need to be it in that moment. You're sort of a complete version of yourself. And I was telling him he was I was like, yeah, that definitely applies to martial arts, but it also applies to everything else. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these lessons, I always say everything is connected. Okay, and that's one of the things I say on here and so on, and in my beginning videos, everything is connected. Whether it's ideas, whether it's your personality, whether it's the universe, the sun, the stars, everything is connected together in this mesh of the universe. In the universe, I know it's entertainment, but it is philosophy. And in Star Trek or Star Wars, even they talk about the Force, and the Force being it surrounds us and it binds us. And I do believe that. You love Star Wars?
Well, so just a segment real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
One of my favorite philosophers, Joseph Campbell, he actually, Star Wars was based off of his philosophy.
I believe it.
Hero's journey, and he shows of the climax of the hero's journey and everything. You just got to look it up. It's pretty cool.
Okay. What's the name again?
Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey.
Okay.
Yep. And it literally you pick any one of these superhero movies or action movies where the hero comes out or there's a problem or that, it follows the philosophy of Joseph Campbell.
Yeah.
I digress. You go on.
No. Yeah. I mean, I do believe that everything is connected. Yep. And I know these. I can just tell from watching Star Wars that George Lucas definitely was someone who sort of found inspiration from philosophers and things like that. And as such, people have found inspiration from his movies. And these are how ideas are spread and so on. But I feel it in my bones. I feel everything being connected. Because once you change your mindset, then it all falls into place. It's like, I was talking today to someone about luck. And they were, I was like, luck, I do believe, okay, to me, luck is a way of not being able, you use luck to explain a connection that you can't find. So then it's luck. That's what I think. I think it's, if I can't explain what's going on here, then I'll say this person is lucky, or I was lucky, or this thing was lucky. But there is a connection in a lot of ways. There's a thread that was connected to another thread that was tugged somewhere else that sort of influenced that. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So you tug on a thread in one way. So you read a book. So let's just give an example here, the butterfly effect, right? Have you heard of this? You know the butterfly effect.
Yes.
So explain that to me. Explain that to the people that are watching.
Okay, so it's also called the domino effect too.
Yes.
Or the law of attraction even, we can even take it another level, is that a thought or an action or an emotion that you do fuels that next step. So for instance, you just use the book. Okay, so say I'm reading Stop Doing That Shit.
Yeah.
I know this is not an endorsement for Gary John Bishop, but I would love to meet you, Gary John Bishop.
Okay.
So it's like, for instance, like it'll put action things in here. So like, for instance, write down one thing you want to stop doing. Okay. So for instance, I want to stop being on social media for as much. Okay. So what are you going to do then to limit that? Okay. So I'm going to limit my time to 10 minutes a day. Okay. So then me stop getting on there for 10 minutes a day. That means I'm on social media less.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way, example.
And that may impact your life in other ways as well, because now you shifted the pendulum slightly, or you shifted the meter slightly, and now you have more time in your hands to do something else, like read another book, sort of grow another relationship with someone, pursue another interest. I know work out. So that now, so you've made a decision that was sort of seemingly small that may contribute to that hurricane being formed. Because guess what? Let's say, for instance, you decided that you would no longer spend as much time on social media. And then now you decide, I'm going to work out more. Well, guess what happens? Potentially, you work out more and you decide that you start to like it. So you start liking your workouts, and then you start going more often and you get into better shape. And in a couple of years, you decide you want to do, you want to become a fitness model or whatever the case is. And now you're getting paid to do that. So you made a small decision before that implemented in a hurricane starting across the ocean.
Exactly. And all it took was getting rid of social media.
Oh, it just started with getting rid of. I can't get rid of social media, otherwise I probably wouldn't know about the channel. But no, I hear you. That's a wonderful way. Yeah, I do believe everything is connected, and the decisions you make on a daily basis are not. They don't live in a bubble, and we are all connected to each other. And that's one of the messages that I want to pass on this channel. Is one of the reasons I started this channel. I think once people start to realize that, it may actually motivate them to become better versions of themselves.
Well, there's actually a book too that really enlightened me because, being up until the past 2 months, I was single. Now I'm dating. I'm in a
you're dating.
relationship.
Okay.
Me.
Okay.
Woohoo! Realizing, especially when you're a kid and you get your heart broken, and you're like, why doesn't I'll never see this person again, and then you realize, having that aha moment of that we're all connected. Because a lot of times we think when we hear the word loss, we're like, this will never happen to me again. I'll never have that feeling again. I'll never have love again. I'll never have any of that. And it's like, no, you will, because it's all connected.
Yeah.
And that aha moment came for me from a book called The Light Warrior. And it's by a medium, but he does a lot of spiritual things, and it's really cool. Just to hear that though, when I, especially after I just got divorced and I was just like going through getting acclimated to everything. It's called Light Warrior, and it's by Kyle Gray.
Okay.
And hearing that we all are connected, it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And understanding that if you're patient enough, the right person will come there along for you. I know for me personally, finding Jay was not something that I was looking for. At least I didn't think that I was going to find that as quickly as I did. What I did. The thing about me is I do believe in the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And that's just a topic that we've discussed many times.
Yes.
And I think that, and this is where I struggled before when I was younger, and which is probably part of the reason I got married to the wrong person when I was younger. I think that you can't force it, because when you force it, you force yourself to lie. You lie to yourself and you lie to that person because you're trying to get that person into your life and be a part of it. So what I used to do was I would pretend to be what I wasn't. So I would talk myself up to a person I was pursuing, knowing that it wasn't true, hoping to get that person to be endeared to me. And I would change. Was that?
Yeah. You put a mask on.
Yeah, you put a mask on.
Yeah.
And it was only through many years of terrible and horrible relationships when I finally decided, I was like, you know what, I'm not looking anymore. And not only am I not looking, so because I wasn't looking, I wasn't going out and hanging out with people and pretending to be this guy that I wasn't to hopefully impress a woman. So what I would do is I would just be myself. If I wanted to be a goofball, I'd be a goofball. If I wanted to act like an idiot, I'll do that. If I wanted to talk about philosophy, I'll do that. And what that does is, by being yourself, and we talk about everything being connected, by being yourself, the person who is right for you may just find you themselves, or the universe will may just sort of bring you guys together simply by you guys living your best.
And honestly, I thought you were the biggest turd for telling me that, because
yeah.
Like, Steph, just stop. And it's funny, like the last time we talked in January, like I stopped. Stopped.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no more dating apps. No, if anybody pursues me, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah. I need to breathe. And then end of February. No, beginning of March. The guy that's my boyfriend now is like, I took down all masks. I'm my goofiest, silliest self. My brain does not stare him.
Okay.
He's the most beautiful woman. He loves me through and through. And I've never been so carefree and so mean with a person before. And it's like, and he's also the same with me. And all these times you hear people say, when you are ready, the person that is meant to be with you will find you.
Yes.
And especially you. I thought you were full of shit. And
really?
I'm like, oh, screw all of you. I'm just going to force it. And the minute I started forcing it, though, and I wasn't even looking. He and I were like, like, let's just be friends.
Yeah.
Um, we talked for a month as friends, and then we decided to meet.
Okay.
So, and then since then, he's my best friend. Like, especially dealing with a lot of things with someone in my family
Hmm.
who is an addict, and him just being there and listening to me, or
Yeah.
before I got on the
Offering you emotional support in a time of need.
exactly,
Yeah.
or even before, because he has his things too. Before I got home to do this vlog video, whatever it is with you,
Hmm.
I was at his house helping him pack some things up, and we're just blaring like Paul Simon, "You Can Call Me Al," and we're both goofy and
That's awesome.
dancing, and like
Yeah.
that's what I need and I've always wanted.
Yeah. That's
You
great.
know, it
Hmm.
is. It's an amazing thing. Like, I can call him up at any time. He can text me anytime. Like, we can say the stupidest things. Like, we were he farted, and I go, "Hey, aim your fart shooter the other way," and we
you,
just
that's actually one of the things too. It's like you 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 got to be able to fart around each other. That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate like relaxation, because who wants that stuff bubbling up in their belly when you're laying in bed and you can't get comfortable? You got to let it go. You know what I'm saying?
if you can't fart in the person you're in front of the person you're dating, they're not the one.
Exactly. You got to. I know
We
I
love
learned
our
that lesson quickly. And if Jay's listening to this, you're gonna be mad at me, boy.
Sorry, Jay.
But yeah,
Love
that's
you.
absolutely true. Hmm. Do you do art? I know I saw you drawing one time when we worked together and stuff like that. What sort of art do you do?
Um, I just kind of doodle and sketch. It's more so it's therapeutic, I think, more so. It's more of a meditation for me. I do like to meditate, but meditation, sitting still for me, my brain wanders. And the best way, though, for me to meditate is through drawing, because it has the same effects.
Hmm.
It's been all
Yeah,
scientifically proven.
I'm
Um,
with you 100%.
yeah, so I'm a psychopath, though. I'll use pen.
Okay, so okay, but that's a wonderful challenge too, because you can't make a mistake with that.
Oh no, I'm like the girl version of Bob Ross. There's happy little mistakes everywhere, all over my
Oh, happy little mistakes. Okay, okay.
Oh,
Turn
look,
the
and now that's
best.
that's a happy little tree now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
In the
cool.
middle of an ocean is a happy little tree.
Well, it'd be nice if down the line you come back on at some point and show us some of your art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of
I
course.
love art myself, and I love to see people do it. And I know what the sort of therapy it does for you mentally. And I'm with it, man. It's a wonderful way to maintain balance in your life.
Well, and it's a great way to connect with others too. I know a lot of people communicate through music, or it's easier for them to write things versus having that hard face-to-face conversation. Or if you're feeling something absolute that you just need off your chest, but you can't express those words,
Mhm.
you throw it on paper. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
painting got me through a lot of those hard moments when I was, going through the divorce of not being able to fully get those words out. So I'm just like, what am I feeling? So I was
Yeah.
doing a lot of black canvas with white paint
Mm.
at that time.
Yeah.
It's amazing though, like when you look at like um famous artists and you're like you could see their phases in life.
Oh yeah, represented in their art.
Exactly.
You know
We're
what's
very
funny?
similar.
I'm starting to do. I don't know if I showed it. I probably didn't show it to you, but I'm starting to do cover songs on the channel here pretty soon. I got one coming out. Actually, let's see. It's 10:46 right now as we're recording.
Hmm.
I'm going to release a cover song by Jay. I guess by the time people see this, it will have already been out. Releasing
Nice.
a cover song by Jay and Sania, my stepdaughter. And I do plan to record some more cover songs and things like that. And we're gonna produce music and stuff on this channel.
Nice.
I have a song that I produced a couple of years ago that was pertinent at the time because I had just ended a long, tumultuous relationship. And this song is it's angry, but it's also sort of where I was mentally at the time. And so instead of doing a cover song, I was thinking about doing a music video of of something that I made myself, so that I wouldn't have to get hit by copyright strikes and stuff like that. And I listened to the song today, and I was like, "Holy shit, I can't play this song because I'm just not there at this point." You know what I'm saying? Like, like I'm talking about, man, you the kind of chick that blah, 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 blah. You're just angry. I'm like, holy, what's wrong with this dude, man? Somebody get this dude a juice box and a nap. You know what I'm saying? So, the reason I bring that up is right in line with what you're saying. The artist goes through certain phases, and you can kind of see where they're at mentally because it's an expression, right? Ultimately, art is an expression of your emotions.
Oh, totally. And anyone that says it's not is full of crap.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the reasons why it gives you therapy. It allows you to have a release. People love a release.
Yeah, art is fueled by emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So speaking of art, what are some of the movies what are some of your favorite movies of all time, and why are they your favorite movie? Why do you like them so
Oh my
much?
gosh. Well, I'm back on a huge Mel Brooks kick again. I love Mel Brooks.
Is that is that the guy that was a comedian mainly in the 60s and 70s? Like he did that Blazing Saddles and stuff like that.
He did Blazing Saddles, yeah.
Blazing Saddles, yeah, yeah, okay,
He
yeah.
pushes the norm.
Like that Jewish guy, yeah, he was pushing boundaries back then. I was watching it, like some of the stuff that he was doing in Blazing Saddles. Like I guess they wouldn't. They wouldn't.
They would not.
I imagine they were impacting society back then, and people were like, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
Well, I mean, him just having this black sheriff in a commanding,
Exactly.
position of power, and then coming around the corner like, "Where the white women at?" And I'm like, "Thank you."
I know people were mad back then when they saw this black dude talking about where the white women at.
It was hilarious, but that's the thing, though. It's like, and then when you look at the underlining message, though, and it's so true, is that we will put anybody in a. Why do we put the certain people we put in positions of power? And then they abuse that power. And then you have somebody who is a minority going against the entire grain of going entire society.
Yeah.
Like you can even play that, like you can layer that in with the civil rights movement.
Yeah, you could. Well, that's around the time, wasn't that right before, around the time of the civil rights movement?
It was right after, it was like
right after?
later,
okay.
but still,
Always later, okay.
Or the whole using women sexually. Like they hit on those moments too, and I'm just like, ah.
Yeah. Things were different. Things were a lot different back then. It was acceptable for people to portray those certain images on television and stuff, whereas today it's not.
But they speak so much truth; they could still apply to today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I are you a big Marvel movie fan? Do you watch any of those?
Come on now, of course.
Yeah. What are some of your favorites? Who's your favorite Marvel character?
See, my favorite DC is Wonder Woman.
Okay.
DC characters is Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn. Harley, because of if I had to put my personality down, it'd be Harley and Wonder Woman. Harley because she used to be a psychologist and well educated, and then she flips the switch and just goes she shows her true personality, but she does it for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
I see. I can relate to certain portions of that, and Wonder Woman because I have this complex, and I've worked immensely on this. I need to save everyone. I need to take care of everyone else before I could take care of me.
So does that mean that you have a giant hammer and a magic whip somewhere in your house? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna keep that. Okay, keep that secret. Okay. We're not revealing that to the public. But no, I hear you.
This podcast, buddy.
And I love that recently with Harley Quinn, they've sort of evolved her character, and she's sort of getting out from under the influence of the Joker, and now she's kicking him to the curb. So she's all for that empowerment. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and it's not even empowerment. And we're going to go into the whole feminist thing. We're going to clear it right now. Feminism is equality. It's not women being better than men. It is wanting equality for all genders, all races, all religions. That's what it is ultimately. And I love that they gave this power back to, she takes it. She doesn't give it. She takes it back, And I think any movie that shows an individual or a group of people taking back what's rightfully theirs, that's why I love superhero movies so much. It's that they're morally And not all of them are morally good or bad. Like, keep in mind, look at Catwoman. She's not good or bad.
Yeah, she goes back and
Um,
forth.
exactly. Harley Quinn's not good or bad. If anything, they're the most human characters in
Yeah,
all of those movies because
yeah,
we're not all good and we're not all bad.
yeah, yeah. We're not
We're
all
yin
black and
and
white.
yang.
You are and I am, but not everybody is. Everybody.
Exactly. If you want to do a Michael Jackson deal, we can do that too.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Black and white music references for some of you that are watching.
Yeah. But yeah,
But it's not all like it's not cut and dry, and that's I think people forget that. Um, it just blows my mind. Like, no, you like, especially when I worked in a church. Oh my gosh, I find some of the most bitter people in the world can be people that are of organized religions
really.
because it is their way or the highway.
Yeah, very judgmental, rigid.
Very, very judgmental. And I'm like, well, Jesus would want it done it this way. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're telling me Jesus wants my desk rearranged a certain way?
Yeah.
I must have
No.
missed that section.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
No,
must have
yeah.
skipped that Sunday school day class.
Yeah, people try to make up their own rules and sort of slip it in there,
Yeah.
and
Like,
lose
I have
lose the core value of what's going on, which is not to be an asshole. That's really what the core value is. Stop being a dick.
this. Maybe that should be the theme of this. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna make that a mantra for people. We're gonna slap it on outside. You're gonna tell people, hey, start preaching that there. Stop being an asshole. Next sermon, stop being an asshole.
See it from that person's perspective. Stop taking everything so personally and stop getting so butthurt.
Yeah, over every little thing. That's absolutely true, and that's one of the things too. Like, yeah, I sort of I do adhere to Buddhism philosophy. There are elements of Christianity that I do follow. My life motto I might have mentioned to you before,
Yeah.
and it is something that is one of the first videos I made in this channel, because when I introduced this channel, I wanted people to see who I am as a core. At
Mm-hmm.
core, and who I was at core at a time when I needed it the most was a Christian man, a
Mm-hmm.
Christian boy. I was a little boy at a time when I went through a lot of trauma in my young age, and one of the things was the lady who rescued me from the situation I was in. She was a Christian woman, and she sort of really pushed me and introduced me more deeply into the Bible and so on. And one of the lessons that I learned back then that impacted me even as a young boy at 5, 6 years old, and I sort of still follow to this day, is the golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I made it my life motto, and it's one of the first videos, like I said. The golden rule: treat others as you'd like to be treated.
Yep.
So,
Which is
uh,
honestly, it aligns with the ethics principle
mm,
for counseling and mental health professionals is do no harm.
yeah, that's true.
That's ultimately
Yeah,
what it is. Do no harm.
do no harm. Yeah, yeah, and but let me ask you this though: if you could speak to Stephanie from 15 years ago, so let's say about 20, 21 years old, what would you say to her?
Um, ooh, hurt people hurt people.
Mm,
Um, don't take things so personally. That's what that means ultimately. A lot of things, take yourself out of the equation. You know, I think a lot of people think that. Okay, so for example, this goes back to the whole career things. Like the best job, just being in the chemical and substance abuse field has helped me grow probably a million years as far as my me becoming a mental health advocate, becoming a counselor, and trying to help others, and also growing a thicker skin. Is that at the end of the day, we get a lot of people that come at us, with their own shit, and it really has nothing to do with us. Um, you know, like we've had clients that are in the worst and worst of situations in life. They're angry at the world. So we're the first ones there trying to help them. So they're the first ones they see. So who are they going to take that anger out on?
yeah,
Us.
that's true.
And
Wise.
in reality, they're hurt. So what are they going to try to do? They're going to try to hurt us so that we feel like they do.
Hmm.
But it has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And that's where the whole take yourself out of the equation part it comes into play. You know, um, people need to kind of realize that unless you've done something intentionally to a person for them to come at you, then it has nothing to do with you. Just let it go. Focus on the good things you have in life. Be thankful. Um,
Yeah.
but
I
I
love
mean,
that.
I think if I can go back, another thing I would say is to don't let other people's opinions and thoughts of how life should be become your view.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that one too. I wish I followed that when I was younger. Yeah.
Yeah, like keep focus on your view of how you see things and everything. And there's I forget what book I was reading, but it was like so everyone has a window and we all have our own telescopes. And my view through that window could be completely different from yours. I could have a different focus. My lens could be clearer. I could be keeping my tool in shape, meaning my mind and my body and emotion, spiritual, my telescope in shape. Whereas the person next to me could have the dirtiest broken piece of shit telescope ever. So their view of the world is going to be completely different than mine. But I needed to stop allowing other people to take my telescope and fix it to what they had.
Okay.
If that makes sense,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like don't let others' view of the world become your view of the world.
Cover your view.
Yeah.
And if you had, so I know you're working towards many goals.
Hmm.
And so if you look into that telescope and you look into the future,
Yeah.
what is Stephanie doing in 5 to 10 years?
Oh, in 5 to 10 years, happy.
Yeah. Just happy in general?
Just happy. I think honestly, like you said, we all have goals. I have goals. My goal is to finish my bachelor's in July. My goal is to buy a house in June. Goal is, within 6 months to, have, if everything progresses with my boyfriend, for us to live together,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, um, be healthier. But I think ultimately just be happy and make memories with the people that are in my life, um, especially in the world we live in right now.
Yeah. What a crazy world we live in right now, huh?
Honestly, if let me ask you this: if I told you when you and I first met that come a year from now, we're all going to be locked down and
Yeah. You know,
that,
I remember when I was a kid and I was taking I don't know if it was social studies class or one of them. And
mm-hmm,
they were explaining the different kinds of impact disease can have on society. And I remember
mm-hmm,
them saying that you can have, something that spreads within a home. You can, all the way up to like to an epidemic where it's like I was like epidemic. What is that? Oh, it's like it's when it's regional and it's taken over your country. And I was like, man, that's scary. I go, man, I hope that it never happens. I hope a disease never like takes over the whole country and ruins everybody's lives and kills a tons of people. And then they were like, well, there's another one. I go, there was another one. What are we talking about? There's like, no, it's a disease that can take over the entire world and can impact the entire world. I was like, well, you know what?
uh,
These things used to happen in the past because I had heard of the Black Death and Spanish flu and all these other things. And I was like, well, those things happened in the past. They ain't gonna happen today, okay? Because we figure things out, and I hope it never happens today. And that's scary. I like legitimately remember thinking.
I remember watching the movie Outbreak as a kid, and I'm just like, this could actually happen.
Yeah,
You know,
it was so scary for me. I didn't even watch it. Just being a
well,
puss.
yeah. Even like okay, so like the mass graves, like with the Holocaust and everything, they have mass graves in New York City right now for people that have passed that have no loved ones and that are technically unclaimed. I'm I'm just like, wow, like I can't. Or
Yeah,
the like hearing some of the horror stories too, of like people's loved ones passing and not being able to go see them in the hospital and hold their hand one last time or say goodbye to them. And I'm just like, please, for the love of whoever is out there, please, I
Yeah.
want to be surrounded by my loved ones.
Yeah, it's so sad. Like I hear stories, working in the medical field, obviously, that I hear stories from nurses firsthand who are saying that who are working in the front lines, and I do consider it a war. So I say front lines.
It is a war.
It is a
It
war,
is.
and your enemy is invisible unless you use
It
a
is.
microscope. And
It is.
and it's the worst kind of guerrilla warfare. You know what I'm saying? With the sneak attack. It's a sneeze and a cough. And this nurse was telling me that the bodies are piling up, man. There's body bags on top
Yeah.
of body bags, and it's a sad thing. And a part of me feels like this is an opportunity for me to be brave and sort of have a positive impact on something in my life for once, where I can feel like that I'm potentially making the world a better place than I came into it. You know what I'm saying? And start falling in line with
Oh
purpose a
yeah.
little bit like that. So part of me feels that, but also I'm a family man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And people rely on me, people love me, and so on. So that makes you give yourself some pause, and so on. But somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to deal with that. And I said to this person, I said, "Man, you're brave. You're a brave nurse. To put yourself in this situation." And I think it's now that people realize that essential workers, people who have to continue to work in their capacity to help people with Corona or whatever the case is. I think they're really starting to now realize the value in these people. Kind of like people had to deal with, people respect soldiers from World War II and what they dealt with to fight for the freedoms of the world against tyranny. Not now, essential workers are almost the same thing. I heard they're talking about, um, I don't know how true it is. I don't know if you've heard it, if you watch the news, but I heard that they're looking to give essential workers a bonus at some point here. Like $25,000 or something at the end of the year. Have you heard anything about this?
See, no, I haven't. But you want to know what? Okay, okay, let's go back to the whole essential workers thing, and
Okay.
like the whole it's funny. It blows my mind how much, especially as us Americans, before all this happened, and I've always complained about this. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think celebrities or professional athletes or actors or musicians or anything should make the amount of money that they do.
100%.
Exactly, because look what's happening now.
Yeah.
Who's saving lives?
You know what? I didn't think about that.
Who is saving lives? Is really you shooting a ball in a hoop going to save this person's life? Is you making this movie going to make sure that this child gets food on their table tonight? No. Or like teachers, I'm very fortunate in the school district that we are in because our teachers have gone above and beyond for our children. They're making sure that these kids get meals, making sure they have meals on the weekends, hooking up people with resources, um, giving them computers to do their homework with,
Yeah.
and making sure they're taken care of. Now, do you recall any athlete making sure all that was done before?
No, they weren't. The athletes weren't going out there handing out free jerseys to their fans, free $100 jerseys and stuff like that. Why does a jersey need to be $100? I don't know, but
Exactly. Or they charge for an autograph. I'm like, dude, you motherfucker, you got enough money.
yeah.
Or
At what point is enough enough?
yeah, or my favorite was the Amazon CEO or whatever there, who's like teetering on the trillion mark of income, saying that he needs people to help him to donate to a fund for
Oh,
COVID.
help him.
Yeah, I'm like,
Oh,
motherfucker, take your money that you have, and you didn't have to pay taxes last year, and you donate it. You get to write it off anyways. So why should we, who are barely making ends meet, who are just trying to survive at this
I
point?
don't know, Stephanie. I mean, is $1 trillion enough? Maybe it isn't. Oh, I don't know what he's worth. Is he worth not a trillion? Probably a hundred billion or some nonsense. two
He's,
hundred
he
billion.
he can afford to lose a couple billion to help the masses.
Yeah, we've been feeding the beast. We've been feeding the beast of consumerism and stuff like that, and we've been living in Elysium for a very long time,
Hmm.
where people,
Exactly.
people fought and died a long time ago to allow us to be lazy schleps in this country. And in the world in general, well, not in the world, because a lot of places in the world people do still value hard work and they do have perspective and so on. But um, maybe I shouldn't speak on this too much, being an immigrant myself, because I did come to America voluntarily. So, and I do love America. Don't get me wrong, but there's people that fought and died who I certainly respect. To allow us to interact with each other. You and I couldn't have had this conversation openly and freely 40, 50 years ago, simply because of the color of our skin. So
Exactly.
there's people out there that sacrifice their lives literally for us to get to where we're at, and we've squandered it.
Yeah.
And now we needed a reset button so that we can start to realize what's really important.
You want to know? It's funny you were saying that. I was having that conversation with my mom and dad. I'm like, as much as it makes me really, really sad at how many people have had to pass for this reality check, though, but it's Darwinism in a sense. It's evolution. I mean, look at our Earth. Our planet is finally healing.
Yeah, I see a lot of smog clearing up over certain parts of the world, right?
The ozone layer has actually healed itself.
Yeah, I think I saw you post that on social media. Yeah.
It's actually healing itself, and it's like, this is the best it's looking like, what, 30 years?
Yeah. No.
Like,
well,
it shouldn't have taken this, though, for people to realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully we can grow from this. I always say, when you're in the fire, which we are in the fire currently, when you're in the fire, you can either burn up or you can be reborn as a phoenix and become a better version of yourself as you move along. That's all you can hope to do. And hopefully we learn from this and we have new perspective. Maybe certain people will make better decisions on their career choices and so on. I've been telling people for a long time, especially men out there, don't automatically look away from getting into the medical field, and think that it's not for men or whatever the case is. Like I have, I have worked in capacities where I've had men say to me, "Hey, doctor." I go, "I'm not a doctor. I'm a nurse." And then they'll go, "No, you're a man. You can't be a nurse. You're a doctor." I go, "Dude, educate yourself, okay? First of all, what's wrong with being a nurse?" And so on. And I get paid very well to be a nurse, and I'm proud of being a nurse. I let everybody know, and I would encourage men out there: don't necessarily fall into the traps of what society has decided or preordained as to what your career choices should be because of your gender. I know women have been following that, subscribing to that for a very long time. Women are not sitting back saying, "Oh, I'm a woman, so therefore I have to work as, what I'm saying, making a home and staying at home and stuff like that." So for men, let's start to get our minds right. Because I'll tell you something right now, I'm not hurting for work at all. Okay, I'm not hurting for work, and this is by design. By design. When I went into nursing school, my thought process was, I am tired of not being able to always get work when I want it and being able to pay my bills. So what can I do that makes me situation proof?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, traditionally women have always been fighting the good fight and so on. But hopefully, like I said before, this situation will help people sort of reborn and become better versions of themselves. Maybe people will actually learn how to wash their hands and things like that. Yeah.
The fact that we have to have videos of people like to show how to wash their hands, I'm just like, we learned this in kindergarten.
Yeah. People think they're proof. They're immune to what you can't see won't hurt you. So, and I come to find out that's the thing that hurts you the most. The creature that kills the most people in the world, the most dangerous creature in the world. You know what that is?
No.
Mosquitoes.
I thought you were going to say Tiger King, but
It's that Tiger King. He might be. Yeah, I definitely got to get into that show and anything and stuff like that. So what time is usually bedtime for you? We're pushing midnight at this point.
Yeah, I'm usually in bed actually by 10.
I had a feeling. I was keeping you up.
Yeah, no longer working third shift, so I stick to a 10 o'clock bedtime now. My sleep's been really messed up though, but those are the joys of this whole anxiety thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. But you're a night walker, so.
I'm not even a night walker because I tell you, like we talked about earlier. How do I put it? I'm like I try to be water. You know, when I fought in MMA, I was always the guy who would sort of like if somebody needed to wrestle, if somebody was a wrestler, I would be like, okay, I'll fight off my back then. It's because he wants to take me down. So I'll fight. Well, I'll fight where you want me to fight. If I, you know what I'm saying? So if we're boxing, then I'm going to do what I need to do to counter that. So in this situation, I'm actually doing second shift now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm working second shift. I work two to like 10:30 and stuff like that. So I've adapted to that. So I get to sleep at night and stuff like that now too. So I do that with no issue. So I just adapt to my situation as stand. You know, life is going to change. And you're going to get hit with all types of things throughout your life that you don't expect. But I'm in a unique situation because I was raised living in different countries and constantly moving, constantly changing schools. Like I remember I changed schools within a year span. Like I left one school at the end of 1 year, spent one semester at a different school in high school, and then the next semester in a different school.
Holy shit.
Yeah, when I was growing up. So for good or for bad, and certainly there's negatives to having that sort of upbringing. Come to find out, where it comes to depression and anxiety, and things like that, and wanting to belong, which is probably part of the reason why I was always jumping and wearing masks all the time because I wanted to fit in. But there's advantages to being like that too. One of the advantages is I almost feel like no matter what, and people that know me know this. I'm a different person like every 5 years. I'm into something different. I'm doing something different because I understand that life is never going to be rigid or never going to stay the same. So you sort of have to adapt to your situation or die. We talked about Darwinism, right? Well, we have instant Darwinism, and I fully believe in it. And I'm like, listen, this is the way things are right now. What's the best I can make? What can I do now to adapt to the situation? So like if I'm struggling right now and I have a decent car and I can't find work at all and I need to find work, then I'm going to do what I need to do. And that may be food delivery. I know that puts you in the line of fire and so on if you're, whatever the case is, but I'll do what I need to do to survive here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
survival of the fittest, there.
Right there. Darwinism as it follows. So any parting words for us, Stephanie? Anything else? Anything you want to leave with us?
Don't be assholes.
Okay. Don't be assholes. And I really do appreciate you, joining me past your bedtime here. Now you can go cuddle up and to drink your juice box and cuddle up with your teddy bear.
I will. Thanks, buddy.
All right. You take care, and I hope to have you on in the future. And yeah, I'll see you after the corona is over and stuff like that. We'll hang out. We'll go bowling. We've been meaning to go bowling forever.
Bowling.
When is it gonna happen?
Bowling.
But now that we're going bowling, mate, for the I don't know what.
Bowling.
What is this? Well, I don't know what it is.
Bowling.
Bowling. That's a sign of bowling? Okay.
Bowling.
I can't wait. So you know what I want to do? This is what I want to do. We're going to, the next time we do a podcast, we'll do one at the bowling alley.
Heck yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
How sick would that be?
Oh my gosh, you're going to hear some awesome new swear words. Yes.
But you're good though. Why would you be swearing? You told me you were good.
Oh no, I gotta drop a fuck bomb every now and then.
You got to do what you gotta do.
You catch the alley just right, you slip and you do a split. Yeah, you got it.
Flip and do a split, huh? Not physically, but you mean like the two pins on the other side.
Yeah, just
oh, okay.
Well, yeah, we'll go with that too.
Okay, we'll do that. But yeah, I look forward to it. And maybe I'll learn a few lessons for you. I like bowling and stuff like that, but I'm very inconsistent. I need to find it because I'll use because I got big hands, so like I feel like I can just pick the ball up and just throw it down the thing, just like a shot put and something like that. But I don't have a consistent routine, and I want to know how to spin it and curve it and stuff like that. So
you gotta anchor it right and curve and
you gotta angle it right. Okay, so you'll show me how to do that, and maybe we can teach the audience as well because they'll be there with us. We were going to do the podcast like that. I had mentioned that to you before.
Yes. Yeah, we'll do it. We will do it.
Let's definitely let's get that. Sure. Let's get it popping. Okay. All right, Stephanie. Thanks for joining me, and you take care and stay safe and take care of the baby. Okay.
You too, warrior.
All right. Thank you. You're a warrior as well. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Please search on YouTube for Just a Thought Vlog and follow us on social media.